Yeah, so I'm not defending the arts block. I'm playing the part of the devil's advocate, explaining why no one should be kept. Can we? That's what I was told to do. Can we just recontextualize for a second? What we're talking about here is an apocalyptic vista, and who should be saved on the basis of who's going to be necessary. And what it's turned into is an unfortunate situation where the scientists desperately defend themselves against the entirely correct allegation that they're boring, summed up by Sue's impassioned, we do have sex. And the arts block's reprehensible failure to realise that the business school is part of the Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences. And also its pretense, its desperate, insecure pretense that because we are art students, we are fun. It's acting a part. It's overacting a part. Now ask yourselves, in a new world, do you want people who desperately and insecurely have to pretend that they are fun because they manifestly aren't? Or students, and poor old Dara, who we'll talk about him in a second, who desperately need to ensure their own sense of coolness because they've got nothing else, including job prospects. Let's look through this. Killian started. And he said, and I thought this was going to be breathtaking, he said, scientists answer to one thing. And I was hoping he was going to say dreams. And he said, evidence. And then you realised that all the allegations were true. He said, and this is a direct quote, and there'll be a few slightly decontextualised direct quotes. He said, science can bring joy into our lives. It certainly has into mine. No shit, Killian. Could you imagine the tension of a life raft journey where you're thinking about survival and you need someone to have a bit of crack, and he's talking about vaccination and microwaving mice? Now, Dara then came in on behalf of the side that is supposed to save the arts block. And I confess, he nonplussed me by making all the arguments as to why the arts block should be vaporized as an expensive anachronism. And when he spoke about the need to push the boat out, I fully agreed, but we should leave him behind. Push the lifeboat out. And let's have this visitor centre and museum left on the decaying shore. Now, this isn't my idea, this is Dara's idea. How can I possibly disagree with my friend and colleague who gives out quite correctly about the French department, but wants the thing to disappear? Here we had the one different speaker, the person in the arts block who fully realised that he isn't cool. Oh, but then it got sexy. 50 Shades of James. Now, at the beginning, we should have known, at the beginning, he looked round and he said, I see wonderful young talent. We should have known where it was going at that point. Everything turned to sex. We need people, he said, who know how to live. And I'll tell you, my hero scientist, what does his surname happen to be? Rutter. Constant lines. Why not? I am doing it. Do you know what it is to be well? And then he asked you, and thankfully he asked you to beat yourselves on your own chests, It looked like it could have been going either way at that point. And he said, I wonder how much connection we're going to have here tonight. I'm seeing the beautiful people. And then post-science coitus, which isn't a real thing, he said, you are magnificent. I am a card-carrying giver. Finally, and summing up his speech, he said, I have been talking bollocks for all of it. Ultimately, this was the classical example of a scientist talking about sexy stuff to try and make you think that they're interested in sexy stuff. But for them, sexy stuff ultimately comes back to who invented penicillin. I use the word advisedly, actually, because the worst thing about scientists is they claim credit for shit that already existed. Kira has never read Joyce. She's never read Ulysses. And it is a tribute to her that despite this, she's able to come out with so much gibberish stream of consciousness that no one can understand. She said, I consider myself a professor of life. Now, the worst person that you want on a life raft is anyone who would say something like that. The second worst person that you want on a life raft is anyone who is remotely connected to the acting profession. Because what you don't want on a life raft, even for someone who, probably following the lead of James with his sexy talk, said you can look at my bangs, what you don't want on the life raft is someone who is invested in unreality. This is the whole concept of art students. The idea of I am cool, you can look at my bangs, I know what analogies are, although it's not an analogy, I know what a simile is, but it's actually a comparison, and I'm doing a module on walking, and I'm going to mock it, but actually I'm still doing it anyway. Let her walk, and let her see, along with the theologians, if she can walk on water. Right. So, God, I love listening to you. I love listening to you. We do have sex, we do have sex, we do have sex, we do have sex, we do have sex. We do have sex, we do have sex, we actually don't have sex. Yeah, we are nerds, she said. And this was a full sentence. Yeah, we are nerds, we had to work really hard to get where we are. This is again the problem with scientists. Scientists, and all of them, felt the need to defend their discipline by reference to dealing with the fully accurate stereotype that they're born. We do have sex, we do have sex. Not as much as you, but we do have sex. We wouldn't have invented cigarettes if it wasn't for you. We invented cigarettes for after the sex we don't have. And my favourite quote of the evening, and this is really good because she spoke about scientists' involvement in the invention of condoms and the importance of safe sex, which was followed by Bob speaking about the importance of reproduction. She said, and this is really good advice to all of you in terms of the safe sex. She said, speaking of the science community, next time you try not to get pregnant, think of us. I genuinely, having spent time around scientists, cannot think of a better contraceptive. Jules then spoke on behalf of lawyers. Right, here's the thing. Lawyers are wankers. I know of no nice lawyers. They're all appalling. They lie to you, they steal from you, they charge money excessively. Lawyers are completely and utterly useless. There is not a decent lawyer working in Trinity. I did note the fact that you referred to how much, quote, I want to ride David Kenny. I'll be telling them about that tomorrow. If he hasn't found out from the fact that I've already live tweeted it. Apart from the fact that those of you who know that individual will immediately realise how poor her judgment is. It's true. Absolute prick. The reality is, the last thing anyone wants in a new world is a lawyer. They are disgusting. Any of you who are studying law are a disgrace. And I hope you get exactly what is coming to you. There was a slightly disturbing line from a lawyer. I look at my sleeping, look at this, the full sentence. I look at my sleeping husband, and he looks a lot like my dad, and I've tried. Okay. That was more from the scientist's side. Rubbish, I'm not going to talk. Do it once again and it goes up your arse, right? Bob came and he said, what are you going to do on the Liferaft? You're going to navigate by the stars. It sounded beautiful. It sounded fantastic. We have invented the stars. We've discovered the stars. We're chemists. We looked up, we discovered the stars. You didn't do it because you're blind, because apparently that's what scientists are. They've got the power of vision. We saw a star, and that was our star. We're scientists. We discovered the stars. They're ours. But look at what he does. All the cures for nuclear disaster, the cures for sickness. Scientists have invented that. But what do? Steer away from Sellafield, because of course the scientists didn't invent the fucking nuclear power, did they? The scientists don't cause nuclear disasters. They claim credit for that which is good, and they somehow subtly manage to avoid their responsibility in that what is bad. Oh, look at the stars, because we invented those. And the grass, we invented the grass, and there's trees, we invented the other people, because we're scientists. Bullshit. It already existed. It already existed, and it will exist in the new world. Oh my God, look, how many words can you use to describe a second? 40. Like you'd have him walk the Liferaft before he got to 12, but 40 words. We invented the 40 words to describe what a second is, and we invented what a second is because we invented what time is, and it's ours. No. It existed anyway, and this is the real problem on both sides. Academia, university education, does not give you anything. What it does is it involves pretentious bastards like me pretending, because we're frankly not suited to work in the real world, it involves us claiming credit for that which would have existed anyway. The stars existed anyway. Before Bob looked up, I claim that stars, mine, I invented it. It existed anyway. Sex existed before scientists didn't have it. And life and entertainment and joy and even dear old Ulysses, which none of us have read, that can be yours without us. So do you know what you should do, my friends, as you head from this world of apocalyptic disaster to a new world? Forget about us. Forget about the shitty buildings and the arts block and the Hamilton. Forget about university. It's an expensive waste of time. Go and enjoy yourselves. We've done nothing but cause disaster. You can build better without us. But I am the devil's advocate. Maybe I think knowledge is perfect. Maybe I'm in awe of science, of chemistry, of psychiatry, Maybe I think that without art and music, without language and poetry, life in any world wouldn't be worth living. I can't say. I'm just the devil's advocate. Thank you.